Most people, they spend 30 years asking the wrong question. Do I have enough? That's the question the financial industry has trained you to ask. It keeps you anxious. It keeps you comparing yourself to a number that somebody else invented. But the real question, the one that actually determines whether retirement works for you, is what are you retiring to? If you're over 50 and thinking about retirement, whether that is in 2 years or 10, stay with me, because in the next little over 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through every question you actually need to answer, not the ones the financial industry wants you to ask, the real ones. All right, let's start here, because most people have never actually answered this question. For your parents' generation, retirement had one definition: you stop working. You get the gold watch, you get the pension check. Hey, go fishing. That definition is broken, not just financially, psychologically. Here's what I have seen over and over. People who retire from something without knowing what they're retiring to, they don't do so well. The structure disappears, the identity disappears, and for a lot of people, the health starts to go not long after. So before we talk numbers, and we will absolutely talk numbers, I want you to sit with this one question. What does a good Tuesday look like at age 68? Not a vacation Tuesday, a regular Tuesday. What are you doing? Who are you with? What problem are you solving? That's your definition of retirement. And everything we talk about today, every number, every decision has to serve that vision. Here's the mental model that changes everything. Most people think about retirement like a finish line. There's a pile of money at the end, and if the pile's big enough, you're safe. That's the wrong picture. Retirement is not a pot of gold. It's more like a river. You need water flowing consistently, reliably, every single month for the rest of your life. That means income streams, and there are 3 main buckets most people are building from. Bucket number 1, tax-deferred accounts. This is your 401k, your IRA, your 403b. This money grew without being taxed, but you will pay taxes when you pull it out. Every dollar you draw here has a tax cost attached. Bucket number 2, pension income. Now, look, fewer people have this than a generation ago, but if you do, a defined benefit pension, a government pension, maybe even a military pension, this is gold. This is a guaranteed stream. Protect it, understand it, do not leave it on the table. Bucket 3, taxable brokerage accounts. Money you have saved and invested outside of retirement accounts. Look, you've already paid taxes on your contributions, and your growth is taxed at more than likely capital gains rates, which are often lower than ordinary income. Most people are only thinking about one of these buckets. Your retirement income strategy is about all 3 need to work together, and how to draw from them in the right sequence to minimize taxes and to maximize longevity. Look, we're going to do a full deep dive on tax strategy in a future video. For now, the goal is to build multiple streams of income and not drain one big tank. All right, Social Security may be the most single consequential financial decision you're ever going to make in retirement. And most people, they get it wrong. And look, it's not because they are careless. It's because nobody ever explained it to them. Here's what I want you to do today. Go to ssa.gov and pull your benefit estimate. It'll take you about 10 minutes. You'll create a free account and you'll see your projected benefit at age 62, 67, and 70. That age range, 62 to 70, that's not trivial. For many people, it is the difference of over $100,000 in lifetime benefits and sometimes much, much more. Now, two things you need to understand when you pull that estimate. First, your earnings record. Social Security calculates your benefit based on your 35 highest earning years. If you have any years of zero income, think of caregiving years, a gap year, maybe early career years, those zeros drag your benefit down. Working 2 or 3 more years at a meaningful income, it can permanently increase your monthly check for the rest of your life. It's worth knowing. It's worth checking. Second, bend points. That's B-E-N-D, bend points. I'm going to tell you here just enough so you know why this matters. Social Security does not replace your income at a flat percentage. It's a weighted formula. The government replaces a higher percentage of lower income earners than higher income earners. Look, here's a simplified example. The formula replaced about 90 cents of every dollar up to roughly $1,000 per month of average earnings. After that break, it's about 32 cents on the next tier. Then it drops to 15 cents above that. So what does that mean in plain English? If you're a lower earner, Social Security is doing some heavy lifting for you. If you're a higher earner, it's a smaller piece of the picture. And where you fall in that formula affects whether claiming early costs you a little or costs you a lot. We're going to dedicate an entire video to bend points with real numbers and real scenarios because this decision, it's consequential. For now, just know this, the decision of when to claim Social Security, it's not a guess, it is math. Do not make that decision without doing the math. If you retire before age 65, you have a healthcare gap. Medicare does not start until 65, full stop. That's end of story. So if you're retiring at 60, 62, even 63, you need a bridge. And this is where a lot of early retirement plans, they just fall apart. Because healthcare costs, like we all know, those costs are not trivial. Here are your 5 main options. 1, COBRA. When you leave your employer, you can continue in your current health insurance for up to 18 months. What's the catch? Well, you pay the full premium. What your employer was paying for you plus what you were paying. For most people, that's $800 to $1,500 a month or more. It's expensive, but it is familiar and it maintains the continuity of care that you've gotten used to. Option 2, a spouse's employer plan. Look, if your spouse is still working and they have employer-sponsored coverage, this is often the cleanest and most affordable option. A qualifying life event, like retirement, typically lets you join their plan outside of the open enrollment period. Look, check this first before you assume that you need COBRA. Option 3, this is the ACA marketplace. Depending on your income in retirement, you may qualify for subsidies through healthcare.gov. This is really worth a careful look. If you're drawing down retirement accounts strategically and managing your taxable income in early retirement, your subsidy eligibility, it just might surprise you. Option 4, health sharing ministries. Organizations like Christian healthcare ministries are cost sharing programs. They're not insurance. The monthly contributions are typically much lower than traditional premiums for people who are healthy and have a straightforward healthcare picture. This can work really well. It's not for everyone. Do your homework. Understand what is covered and what is not. Option 5, VA benefits, if you served. If you are a veteran Check your eligibility. VA healthcare can be an important and significant bridge. A lot of veterans do not know what they qualify for. The point is, you have more options than just COBRA. Know all of them before you make a decision, and build the cost into your retirement income plan, and do it before you hand in your 2-week notice. I will say this plainly: debt in retirement is a retirement killer. It's not because debt is always wrong, but because debt requires income to service it. And when your income is fixed, when every dollar is planned, debt is an anchor. So here's a question I want you to answer, and do it honestly right now. If you retired today, what would your required monthly debt payments be? Now, what is that? Your mortgage, your car payment, credit cards, any loans you're carrying? Add it up. Now ask, does your projected income cover that dollar figure comfortably and still leave room for the actual life that you want to live? If the answer is uncertain, that debt is your first problem to solve. Not your investment returns, not your Social Security timing, it's the debt. Eliminating or drastically reducing debt before retirement is one of the highest return moves that you can make. It is not glamorous, but it works. Here's a question I ask people that cuts through a lot of noise. Do you love, tolerate, or do you hate your job? This is not just about your emotional well-being, though that absolutely matters. It's a financial question. You love your job, maybe you even tolerate your job. Working a few extra years or working part-time in retirement, it changes your math dramatically. A consistent $1,500 to $2,000 a month in earned income, it can delay Social Security. It can delay drawing on your investments and give your retirement accounts years of additional growth. And here's something most people do not consider. You don't have to choose between full-time and then just done. Many employers, especially when they're about to lose someone with deep institutional knowledge like you, they'll negotiate a part-time or contract arrangement. You keep contributing, they keep your expertise, and you start building the margin that early retirement requires. Or take what you know and consult. 30 years of hard-won experience in your field has real value to companies who need that expertise without having to hire somebody full-time. A few consulting clients a month can generate meaningful income on your schedule, on your terms. Now, here's the second part of that question. Is a side income in your retirement plan, looking at the numbers, is a side income a nice to have or a need to have? Look, be honest with yourself. If your retirement plan requires a side income to work, if without it the numbers do not close, they do not work, that's really important information. It means you're not ready yet, or you need to restructure before you leave. If it's a nice to have, something that gives you purpose, flexibility, a little extra runway, that's a completely different conversation. That's actually a healthy part of what retirement can look like. Know which one you're in. I want to spend a moment more here because this doesn't get talked about enough in retirement planning. Your health is a retirement asset. Here's a number that should really get your attention. Fidelity estimates that a 65-year-old retiring today will need approximately $172,000 over the course of retirement. And that's just to cover healthcare costs. And that does not include long-term care. All right? Add a chronic condition, heart disease, diabetes, COPD, and the research shows your annual out-of-pocket costs are going to jump up by more than 50% above that baseline number that we just talked about. Your physical health, it's not a soft topic. It's a line item in your retirement plan, or it absolutely should be. A healthy person at 65 can do things. They can travel. They can chase grandkids. They can start something new. They can show up as a guide to the people who need them. A person who has not invested in their physical health faces a retirement defined by limitation and dramatically higher costs. So here's the honest question. What are you actually doing about your health right now? Not planning to do, doing right now. Because retirement, it rewards the person who arrives healthy, and you have more control over that than you might think. This next one is personal for me. I left my career to care for my father when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I can tell you, caregiving is one of the most significant financial and emotional disruptions a person can face. And almost nobody puts it in their retirement plan. Here's what I want you to think about. Do you have aging parents who may need care in the next 10 years? Do you have a spouse or partner who has some vulnerabilities with their health? Are you the person in your family who's going to step up when someone needs help? If the answer to any of these is yes, that's a risk that belongs in your plan. And if you want to understand the financial stakes, the cost, here are the current national median prices. Independent living, about $3,100 a month. Assisted living, $6,200 a month. Alzheimer's, what my dad went into, memory care, $8,000 a month. A nursing home, semi-private room, that's nearly $10,000 every month. These are national medians. If you live in a high cost of living state, you'll need to add more to that number. And Medicare does not cover most of this. These costs, they come out of retirement savings or out of the extended family. Long-term care insurance is one conversation worth having. An honest conversation with family members about expectations is another. Building enough financial margin that you could step away from work if you needed, that's a third. Do not let caregiving be something that happens to your retirement. Think about it now while you still have options. Last thing, when you finally retire, whenever that is, I want to give you one piece of advice. Do nothing for about a month. No projects, no new business ideas, no reorganizing the garage. Just decompress. Let your nervous system catch up to the fact that the alarm does not have to go off tomorrow morning. Look, you've been running hard for 30 or 40 years. You've earned the right to push pause. Now, but here is what is also true. After that month, you have to move. And more importantly, you have to move toward something. Not away from work, but toward a purpose, a project, a relationship you want to deepen, a skill you want to build, a problem in your community that needs someone with your experience. People who retire toward something, they thrive. People who retire away from something, just escaping the job that they hated, they often struggle. Without direction, without contribution, the decline is real. Look, you have more to give than you know. The question is whether you will step into it. If you want a structured way to think through everything we've covered today, the income streams, the Social Security decision, the healthcare bridge, the debt picture, all of it, I've put together a retirement reality checkup guide that walks you through it step by step. The link is in the description below. It's free, and it'll give you a clear picture of where you actually stand today. If looking at retirement in this way was useful, would you please subscribe? And quite frankly, more importantly, would you let somebody else know who's in the same situation the important questions to consider? We need to get this message out. Look, at Brain Flash, we put out new content every week on making retirement financially sustainable, physically vital, and genuinely purposeful. Your best work, it may still be ahead of you.